What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Epic Mixdown. My name's Jared. Been a long time since it's been a video, but thought it'd be a good opportunity to take some time and just simplify everything and make some videos about just starting fresh. Like, hey, you just bought a new laptop, you got a DAW, and you want to know how to make music. Well, I'm going to try to make some simplified videos using Ableton that will help get you going. You can be creative and figure out the fundamentals of everything. So with this video right here, I just kind of want to focus up setting up your session and explaining everything. So when you pull up Ableton, now yours might look a little bit different with what tracks are right here, but you're going to pull up Ableton, you're going to load it up, and then you're going to be looking at the arrangement window. So from here, you'll have your tracks on the right. They're labeled for you. Audio, which can only take audio files. MIDI, which is anything from your MIDI keyboard, um, like an MPC that you have hooked up MIDI to your computer. That's where all that information is going to go. Vocals, anything live you're putting on audio, recording into your DAW via your interface, will go into audio track. So that being said, that's what you're looking at right now. Again, the arrangement window. If you wanted to hit tab on your keyboard, this will take you to the mix window. And this is where you'll see your tracks labeled right here, your faders, clip region, which I don't use, so I don't really talk about it. You have, for recording purposes, auto monitor. This is your inputs to your interface. Then you have some other external options. Um, Now, that is the mix window. Hitting tab back and forth will get you there. You can also go to view and, sorry, navigate. Just click on the mixer, pull it up down here as well. So if that's how you want to, have your arrangement and your mixing window down here, you can do that as well. I don't really like to do that. Not my cup of tea. I like to just flip back and forth. So, um, yep, that. Okay, boom. So, where do you go from here? Well, what's next would be this section right here where you have your effects, other VST plugins, sounds. As you can see here, I have a bunch of groups labeled, my favorite plugins, how I mix stuff, what I look to pull from. But if you're just running with stock stuff, a lot of your audio effects where you find like your EQs, compressors, auto filters will all be in this audio effects section. And then um, you have your drums, which have drum like machines. They have individual shots here as well. Your instruments to create sounds, do melodic stuff, all right here. If you do happen to use third-party plugins, they'll pull up right here and you'll have your list. And that is that. So now, moving into kind of back to the arrangement window, if you wanted to create another track, there's a few ways to do it. Let's say you want another audio track. Well, the fastest thing to do is go to your keyboard and hit Command D. And I am on the Mac, so I'm hitting Command. And that will just duplicate. Okay. So if you forget that at any time, you can always come up to the top here with these drop down menus, and the key commands will always be next to where things are labeled. So duplicating, very easy. Let's say didn't have these tracks here and you needed to create an audio track, we just come up here to create. You just hit insert audio track. Now, there's also a quick command for that. Be Command T. Try that out right now. Command T, bang, done. You have an audio track. Now there's also a hot command for a MIDI track, which would be Command Shift T. So you can come up here, back here, or you could just hit Command Shift T. Bang, done. Simple as that. Um, yep. Now, there are a little more things you can do within your tracks because everything in music is workflow. So there's going to get to a point in time where you're going to be creating a certain way. You know, you're going to have go to options for how you want to shape your sounds on your tracks. So as you can see, every time I pull up a track, no matter it's MIDI or audio, you're going to always see on my tracks a utility and an EQ every single time. No matter how many tracks I pull up, this is pre saved. And I do the utility for gain staging purposes, very multifunctional. I can set my sessions when I'm mixing with the signal to the loudness I want for peak and with VU metering. So I just always love to have my utility. You know, as we move forward, we can explain why doing a gain staging video explaining what that means. Pre and post fader, a little technical right now. We're just focusing on how to navigate the session so you can get started making Diplo, Skrillex style records because that's what you're here for. You're here to make absolute bangers and not some sim stuff. So it is important though. I do want to note that when you do get to the time where it's like, hey, I know I'm always gonna want like an EQ or compressor or some sort of effect on a track. All you do is we'll just do it here. We'll delete these. And let's say I know for a fact that's what I want on all my MIDIs or audios. Now, mind you, audio and MIDI tracks are different, so you do have to do it for both. So we'll come up here and I'm like, you know, I really want that utility. We're gonna come down here, double click, bang, there. And then I'm like, you know what? I absolutely love having an EQ, bang. And then what if, just what if you want that compressor on there too, just for whatever reason, bang, done. Come up here, you're gonna hit Control or right click, set as default audio track. Do I want to override it? I'm not gonna do it here, but you'd set it, and then every time you pull up an audio track, at those effects. It's very useful for workflow, so highly suggested. Now that we have the tracks explained, let's navigate into creating a MIDI file. Okay. Now, first off, before we jump into that, I do want to say, as we get back to looking at the arrangement window, now as we're looking at the arrangement window and you go from left to right, this is your tempo for the overall session, key signature, metronome for when you're recording. This right here is a really cool feature they added. So you can select what key your track's in and then click this. And when this is on, when you pull up your MIDI piano roll, all your notes will be within that key. So you don't have to worry like, oh, you're not really musically inclined or musically trained. You can just play notes that will always be within that key. That'll be pretty helpful to kind of figure out, make stuff with your you have play, stop, record. And then as we move through here, here's some other options regarding your mouse. If you don't have a MIDI keyboard and you want to turn your keys on to play with, you're going to want this right here. And yeah, this is your CPU usage. Hopefully your computer is powerful enough to run whatever you're doing. But getting back to the arrangement window, there's a few ways you can zoom in. The fastest way is to use plus and minus on your keyboard. Just like that. You can also come up here, click and drag in and out. Now, let's create a MIDI. We'll go through this real quick. You can click, highlight, create, and insert empty MIDI clip. That's what you're looking for right here. And now we have our MIDI clip right here. And let's just say that we were going to name this. So to do that, you're going to come here, Command R, learn your key commands. But if you don't know, Control click, rename. You can color all your tracks here. Let's say I wanted to turn this like fuchsia. And now this isn't the same color. All you do is right click, assign track color to clip, bang, done. Now you have that. Pulling back up the MIDI file. So as you can see here, all the purple notes highlighted are in the key of C major. So now you're ready to rock and be harmonic. And that's awesome. So what else to talk about MIDI? Creating, every time you highlight like this, you'll create the length of that MIDI clip. So like I went to this drop down menu here and hit insert empty MIDI clip. You can actually just do Command Shift M and well, now let's say, um, we're gonna make a sound real quick. Let's do that. Let's show this. You can kind of have an idea of how you're editing stuff. We will pull up instruments. Sure, operator. Just give us something. Sure, whatever this is. Okay. Remember that you'll always need to engage to play MIDI. You have to engage here. Audio files will have record, and then on the MIDI they'll have this symbol. So that's if you're gonna track MIDI. But we'll just draw these in quick. We'll just do something super simple. Turn the metronome on and just listen. These are measures right here, as you can see. 1 to 2 is 1 bar. You have your up and down beats. Something super simple. It's way too poppy. Awesome. Cool. So let's say you wanted to repeat that. Click, drag from where you want the length of that measure. Copy it like that and just hit Command D. And now it's gonna duplicate it in the same length that you had. So if we undo that with just Command Z, and if I just came in here and highlighted this and hit duplicate, watch where it puts it on the MIDI. Out of rhythm. So that's why you want to come in from where you want to duplicate the whole thing. Highlight, Command D, and now you're in business. Okay, so let's say we didn't want to have it go to 4 bars. You can just come back up here and drag this back. See, this changes down here. You have velocity notes right here that you can adjust. Go in and actually edit that. You have different variations. But let's just focus on getting a nice 4-bar loop. I'm sorry, 8-bar loop. And we're going to duplicate this, Command D, Command D. Now we're in business. Okay, now if we hit Tab, you can see piano's right here. And that's too loud for you. Pull down the gain a little bit from the utility. The reason why you don't want to pull from here yet, this is post fader, your signal. So if I pulled this down, that means everything being affected in here is before this fader. So again, it's a little technical, but just know if you wanted to start and you want to just use the faders, that's fine. But as time goes on, learning gauge staging will drastically change your signal flow in your sessions. there's our melody. So now that we're rocking and rolling, we can create a little drum groove. So if you remember, we'll do it in um, audio. Click Command D. We'll hit Command R. Label this kick. We're gonna come in. We're gonna find a nice, nice. Find a. I know now. Here we go. Yep. Perfect. Now, anytime throw in audio files, especially kicks, it's always good to really zoom in because you can see this fader right here. Just pull that back. We didn't do that. Listen to the kick. Now listen. Hitting a little harder. You ever want a solo track? You just hit S. I'm here. And hit solo. Very simple stuff. Very simple stuff. Let's zoom out. And we're just going to do 4 on the floor, house style. So if you, it's going to be on every downbeat. So like just how we were highlighting and duplicating in the piano roll with the MIDI, you can do the same here in the arrangement window. Highlight, Command D, duplicate. Got a real little bigger. There you go. Now let's say like, hey, I'm committing to this and I want my drum groove to always be this way with the kick. You can highlight this whole section. You're gonna hit Command J, which joins it all together. Remember to clean up that roll in fader. Consolidate is also the term they use, but Command J, consolidate, which would be under the edit window. And now keep in mind, anytime you're not going to really remember these key commands off the top of your head when you first start, but everything's going to be under edit, view, create. That's your biggest friend in these drop down menus. If you forget, just start navigating through here and you'll remember. Now let's come back over here. And if you do remember correctly for renaming, Command R, we'll call this snare. We're going to add a nice snare to the mix. Just going to drop it in. And we need to check this. Yep. And that's all we needed. There. Hit Command J again. Yeah. Again, not the sexiest song of all time, but we're just building foundation and principle of creating something simple. You have a melody, you have a kick, you have a snare. Okay? Very, very simple stuff. And this is in the arrange window. And as you zoom out, we'll just do. Now, as you zoom out, you can see, well, okay, I have this idea I want to elaborate on. You might say, well, why didn't you start at 1? Well, for me, I like to start on bar 9 because now I know I have an 8-bar intro here. And then if I wanted to, I could just create, depending on the tempo you're in, but basically this is a hook for an intro. And if I wanted to map like a verse, depending on what genre you're in, now I have 16 bars right here. So it's just easier for me to kind of like start arranging. But again, like I said, everything's personal preference. But that being said, hopefully learned a lot so far in this video. Shouldn't get ahead too far because I would really like to take more time to actually show you how to make a drum groove with just audio files and then with MIDI files, go through that. But I just wanted to get stuff in the arrangement window. You can see it reflecting into mix window and where to go from there. So that said, we learned a lot in this video. Most important thing you could ever do, you should do it right when you start off, is save. That is saving your sessions. So you're going to come up to File, Save Live Set As. Now, I have a million places to save things, but I'm going to have to start anew. So I'm going to save these in my Ableton YouTube. All this uh, test one. Now it's saved. Various ways to label your sessions. Me personally, I like to label anything with a name, but at least the key signature, the track's written in, and then the tempo. I like to date things too. Really up to you. How do you want to organize your sessions? But saving super important. File, save, live set as, and then Command S. Now, one last thing before we go, I want to show you this. Just as you can have pre-saved tracks for effects, you can do that with your sessions. So I'm going to load up a new session and I'll explain all this in another video. But I just wanted to show you here. This is every time I pull up a new Ableton Live session, this is how mine's set. All these tracks. Things I always go to. I use an MPC, so this is already routed. This is where I would make my drums. I have some audio and some MIDI tracks already pre-designed in here. I have my bass section, my melodics. I have DAC for vocals. So that's how I like to set my stuff up. As you saw earlier, for all my third-party plugins, they're all labeled in groups here. Favorites, go-tos for Vox, mastering, drums, melodics, bass, all that. There's so much more to explain. There'll be more videos for that. Hopefully you learned a lot in this video.